name is Jeffrey. The essence of this session, really, this bootcamp, is for us to talk to ourselves, because there's been this confusion around, project management. There's the balls to start with, project management space. Everybody wants to jump into project management. Everybody want to do something around project management, simply largely because of either the remuneration, because of course it's a very rewarding space, it's a very rewarding field. So a lot of people just want to do something and they are jumping in without due diligence. They are, just going into it without asking the right questions. Some persons had eventually become, from experience, I'll tell you, some persons eventually became business analysts when they could have done better as project managers, and some persons eventually joined the project manager routes, even when their core skill, should have been the business analysis. Okay, so it's just there, here and there, nothing definitive. But at the end of the day, this session is driving towards providing clarity. Okay, driving towards providing clarity of purpose, why you would choose project management, and how you could, optimize your choice, how you could eventually become that person you want to be within this space, within the right framework, within the right structure. Okay, let's move quickly to why Agile. Like, I keep talking about Agile every day of my life, and during the course of this session as well, I've been talking about Agile. And in fact, I had provided a very clear reason why Agile. I had provided the evidence-based example to say that because, again, the world today is fast-paced, driven by technology, is evolving and fast. And that's why we need Agile, a methodology that is built to adapt to changing environment, to changing needs of organizations, to changing needs of the people they are dealing with. So that's particular reason, for these reasons that I've just mentioned, and for the particular reason that Agile is adaptive, Agile is flexible while adapting to this change and quick. I think it was Maureen who asked about iterations, wherein I provided that clarity around iterations and while Agile. So it's important to note that, very important, very, very important, that Agile today is the in thing. And because the Agile Manifesto was written sometime in the early 2000s, we refer to it as more like the Gen Z delivery approach, which is the current and the future. Currently, when it comes to project delivery, we make reference to Agile a lot. And in fact, close to 70% of all Agile projects are delivered using Scrum. So Scrum is a framework under Agile, and trust me, Scrum as an Agile framework is mostly used by organizations today, heavily dependent on Scrum. In fact, across Europe, Asia, just think about it. For every organization delivering especially IT-related projects, they depend largely on Scrum because it's flexible, and because IT projects are changing speedily. They require swiftness, they require smartness, they require you to be on top of your game. And I provided an example to say that, imagine Google. When was the last time you Googled? Okay, as at the time Google was the in thing, all right, during the course of my, I could remember clearly during the course of my, when I was writing my thesis back in the days, it was just Google all through. And I could remember going on Google, trying to search for articles. So I would open close to 200 articles, and I realized that only 10 are relevant to what I'm doing, and I'm able to, pick those 10. And after having read through the 100, I would just realize that only 10 is relevant. So I pick those 10 out, then I continue my search. Go again, search for another round of 50, and I realize only one. But today, by the time you put your subject or whatever your thesis, whatever you're researching on, by the time you put it on AI, say ChatGPT for instance, you would find recommendations of precise articles that you should go to download. So it saves time, it saves energy. So you see that the guys then that were in charge of Google engine, if they had not moved, if they had not upskilled, if they had not embraced the agile methodology, for instance, if they had not moved and fast, then there was no way they could be relevant as at today. There's no way. So agile is just keeping you on your toe, telling you that things are changing and you must change with those things. So that's what we are saying, and that's why agile. So if you must think about anything, either your certification, either experience, work experience, and anything you want to get to, you should be thinking about agile, because agile is critical. Agile is very, very critical to project delivery in the current times. All right, so that's basically why agile is important. Okay, so I just admitted someone. Okay, that's fine. So let's move to some of the statistics, more like, so that when I'm saying that agile is important, we can look at it from a statistical point of view and what professionals, what big bodies of the world are saying when it comes to regulatory bodies or big project management bodies like the PMI, Project Management Institute. What it said that by 2030, over 25 million new project professionals will be required globally. So you could do that research and see for yourself why that is so. The simple reason is because projects are everywhere, in every sector, be it the IT sector, be it the finance sector, be it the energy sector. Like I've explained to you, I've handled projects within the energy sector. I've handled projects within the FMCG sector, that's the fast moving consumer goods. I've handled projects within the finance sector. I've done something within, but I did all this within the different sectors as either a business analyst at some point or a product owner at the other point. So you would find these skills relevant because as the different fields of human endeavor exist, as the different sectors exist, this particular field of either a business analyst, project manager, product owner, you're talking about Scrum Masters, you would find the skills very relevant in different sectors. So we're not just looking for someone who is relevant within the finance space. For instance, imagine the legal practitioner. So a lawyer is only relevant within, mainly relevant within the legal space. And of course, I know that the legal space for different sectors exists because there are always legal issues. So a lawyer is more like an example to tell you that someone can be within one profession and yet have a touch point in all the different sectors. That's what we are saying about project managers, about business analysts, about product owners, Scrum Masters, and that's what we're saying. So you would always have that touch point within your professional training. You will always have that touch point. But for instance, a microbiologist may not necessarily fit in within the banking space because, of course, the banks do not deal with labs and they do not deal with the area of their strength. Okay, so for such courses, not to say that microbiologists are not well to do in their profession, but just to say that there are certain professions that do not necessarily apply across all sectors and across all industries, and project management professionals are not in those categories. Okay, so if you are in this space, you are playing in different sectors, and that's the beautiful part. And again, because IT, the string or the moving string in this context is the IT leverage that most organizations and companies are trying to embrace. So every now and again you hear organizations talk about AI because that's the future. So for us to be able to achieve scale-ups as organizations in today's world, We need to embrace technology. We need to embrace IT. And that's where project managers, business analysts, that's where Scrum Masters, that's where product owners, that's where they sit. That space. And the beautiful part of the whole story is that you do not require coding skills in this context, because project managers are people managers in delivering projects. So it just revolves around key project variables like scope management, issues management, risk management. It revolves around people management, conflict management. So these are concepts that with proper training you're able to scale up and become even more positioned, especially when you have some level of innate skills around managing people, around being kind, being empathic to people or towards people. So you find yourself naturally in that space, okay? But aside that, you would find that project management roles, again, like I would say, this opportunity do not involve coding skills, all right? And there are a lot of doors that you can open by having project management skills. Some of the skills, some of the opportunities, for instance, would include remote work. I'll tell you, I work remotely most times. I do not go to the office. That's an opportunity. I'm able to bond with my family, for instance. I'm able to be with my family most of the time because I do not have the need to go to the offices. But that doesn't mean I'm not productive. I'm very productive because I have my office times, I have my break times. I'm able to, take meetings, but I'm able to have sites like that, proximity with your loved ones. And traveling is also part of what I do. So of course, one of my hobbies. So remote working was that major string for me, for wanting to be in this space. So I don't know for you, but there are other opportunities, sponsorship roles. I know a couple of guys who are currently, some in Estonia, some in the US, some in the UK, especially, via the skilled worker visa route. Some are doing very well in the NHS, courtesy of sponsorship roles born out of their skills from project management as we have it. So there are opportunities, okay? Now, for some of you who may not want to opt for remote working, you don't want to work for someone, you don't want any spot, you want to also just be your own boss. The best output for you would be the freelancing opportunity. There are freelancing opportunities. I also do freelancing, I'll tell you. I started out doing freelancing. I did very well on Fiverr. I did Upwork. I started out as a freelancer. Trust me. When I was first exposed to this space, I started out as a freelancer. I did a couple of gigs on Fiverr, on Upwork. Those are the two I remember. But there are a number of them that exist today. So you could be in that space, not working for anyone, but just doing your thing as your boss, your own boss, and you are good for it. Okay, so freelancing opportunity again exists for project manager, business analysts, scrum masters, product owners, as the case may be. So all these are very critical to the opportunities that this role would provide you. So this role will typically open you up for even more. So beyond the fact that this role is very relevant because it's in demand, and the projections is that by 2030, over 25 million project management professionals will be required globally. You are also able to position yourself by tapping into the opportunities that this role provides you, which includes and are not limited to this that I've highlighted, including the remote working. So let me let me just go to show some of the career path for project professionals, okay? Remember that I had highlighted the need or the fact that by 2030, according to the Project Management Institute PMI, they projected that by 2030, over 25 million professionals, project management professionals in different roles would be required globally. Now, what do you think, or who do you think would be those professionals that will be needed? The professionals that will be needed are simply the guys like you and I, who will be needed at different roles. For instance, I have skilled certain roles. I also want more. You have skilled certain roles. You might also want more. Or you might not have gotten to any role, but you might want to get something, a piece of the cake. So there are different roles within the project management space than you can imagine. In fact, I had highlighted a number of them. So project management do not only expose you to some of these opportunities like I've highlighted, including the sponsorship roles, the remote opportunities, the freelancing, the contract, international contract roles. It does not only do this. It also exposes you to a career path. So you are able to build a career within project management. So you are able to scale up in terms of building a portfolio for yourself, building a career path for yourself. You're able to grow. Yes, you're able to grow. And you're able to, because of the cross-functional nature of your team and the interactions you may be having at different times, you are able to also adapt to new roles. But outside that, from a business analyst role, you can definitely graduate to becoming a product owner. That's why you can see on my screen, a business analyst, you can definitely become a product owner. You can become a product manager. From a project coordinator, you can move into Scrum Master. You can even move to a product owner role from a Scrum Master. That's by the time you get the relevance training, or you can move into delivery manager. At the end of the day, it's about career path, the career you choose for yourself. So by the time you get into the space, you are able to make up your mind as to the career path you want to take.